All right, everybody, Wednesday, November 19th. Now this really should get your attention. 1 in 6 Nevada students has a parent who is in this country illegally. 1 in 6, that's almost 20%. You know, we are America's immigration epicenter. A poll out yesterday says Nevada has the biggest share of illegal immigrants in the entire country. We are, and it's especially true here in Las Vegas, the new changing America. And that is why the President of the United States is coming here on Friday. He's going to be here to explain and sell what could be one of the most controversial things he does for his remaining 2 years in office. He's going it alone, and he's going big on immigration. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. How are you? And we've also got some votes on Capitol Hill yesterday we're going to talk about. Let's get going right now.
Let's go.
Live from Studio B, what's your point? From the right, Amy Tarkanian. From the left, Hugh Jackson. Your host and moderator, Jeff Gillen.
All right, everybody, once again, good to see you. The president is returning to the city where he launched his push for immigration reform. That was here back in January 2013. Now, before he lands here Friday, tomorrow night, the president will announce he is shielding 5 million illegal immigrants from deportation. It's the biggest action on immigration in decades.
Hi, everybody. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be announcing here from the White House some steps that I can take to start fixing our broken immigration system. And then on Friday, I'm going to be traveling to Del Sol High School in Las Vegas, where 2 years ago, I laid out the principles for comprehensive immigration reform. Everybody agrees that our immigration system is broken. Unfortunately, Washington has allowed the problem to fester for too long. And so what I'm going to be laying out is the things that I can do with my lawful authority as president to make the system work better, even as I continue to work with Congress and encourage them to get a bipartisan, comprehensive bill that can solve the entire problem. So, tune in tomorrow night at 8 o'clock here from the White House, where I'm going to be making this announcement, and then Del Sol High School, I will see you on Friday. Thanks, everybody.
All right, so that's the president. That video provided by the White House. Our John Ralston, by the way, added it up. This will be the president's third stop at Del Sol since 2008. Why is he coming here? Because this state is the new changing face of America. According to the Pew Research Center, 210,000 people in Nevada are here illegally in 2012. That is 7.6% of our state population. According to Pew, that was the largest percentage of undocumented immigrants of any state. That shows you some of our neighbors. So, the president comes here on Friday. Again, the announcement tomorrow night to a nationwide audience. He sells it here on Friday at Del Sol High School. I'm going to begin with you. Okay. What do you think?
Well, first of all, it doesn't surprise me that he's coming here, especially with the percentage that you just announced, 7.6%. That is a very high number. And it also doesn't surprise me because, one, we have a governor who's actually expanded Medicaid, which is to help those who are lower income. And there's 42% actually nationally that are on Medicaid. And that's also a high number. But the fact that we have a Republican governor that's expanded that program, that benefits people such as the illegal immigrants. Also, he has allowed driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. So that's another area that if you were illegal is an advantage for yourself. Plus, it's political because you have the casinos, the construction workers, and the unions. They're not going to touch this area at all because they know that this is an important voting bloc,
well,
and they need this
Hispanic
workforce.
population burgeoning here, as those numbers showed, we are a state turning increasingly Democratic. The recent midterm notwithstanding, what do you think?
Well, politically, obviously, there are a number of reasons why Nevada is the obvious place to do this. And one of the obvious reasons is we saw it in the election a couple of weeks ago. Latino voters did not show up. And I had suggested prior to the election that Obama's failure to take an executive order, to take executive action prior to the election, instead holding it off until after the election, may end up hurting Democrats on Election Day, and I think that it definitely played a big part in doing that. I think we would have seen some very different outcomes had he done it prior to the election. I think Horsford, for instance, Stephen Horsford, would still be going
so,
right, because that's another question people have is, why now? Why didn't he do it in his first 2 years when he had a Democrat House and a Democrat Senate? Why is he waiting now? It seems to be more of a political football.
Because I think that there's still a lot of problems and limitations to what you can do with executive order. For instance, you mentioned expanding Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act.
Correct.
These folks, according to the reports that we're getting and what we think is going to be in Obama's plan, these new folks that he is going to say, okay, we are not going to deport you. He's not legalizing them. He's just saying we're not going to deport you. They're not going to be eligible for Obamacare. They're not going to be eligible for the subsidies. A lot of people think that's actually part of the problem. What's always lost in this is behind all of the politics, there is very real policy which are driving people to want to have immigration reform. Very real economic benefits to a state, particularly a state which has the highest percentage of undocumented immigrants than any other state. There are a number of economic benefits that befall us if we allow those people to actually compete fairly, and we subsequently raise the wage base for the entire working population, something that this state very sorely needs to do, as a matter of fact.
When we come back, we're going to take a break now in just about a minute or a few seconds from now, but when we come back, let's talk more about is this big enough, but also I wanted to dip into this. What will the state's highest-ranking Hispanic make of this latest push on immigration reform? We'll debate how Brian Sandoval should play the issue. Should he come here Friday to welcome the president? We'll be right back.
Imagine being able to clear your breakouts fast with a revolutionary new acne treatment that's actually good for your skin. Announcing all new Proactive Plus, the combination of acne medicine plus ultra perfecting skincare. Television star Kristen Ritter calls it a miracle.
I love the new Proactive Plus. It's fighting all my breakouts, and my skin is like porcelain.
The results are astonishing. Your skin is not only clear, but smooth and sexy. It's our smartest, fastest, most effective solution ever. And now, new skincare is in every step to balance acne-prone skin with needed hydration and more.
I have to tell you, this is different. Just look at my before and after pictures. That doesn't lie.
So grab your phone and dial the number on your screen now, because today, shipping is free. And get 3 free gifts, a $96 value for just $29.95. Call now.
You will love your skin.
Values aren't like fashion. They're permanent. Bedrock things like integrity, experience, compassion. Things change, but what really matters doesn't.
I've got a great way for you to stay connected to the changes in the weather. Not just numbers on a page, I'll be using my own words to send you a daily weather forecast.
Go to mynews3.com, click on weather, and enter your information. My News 3 Weather, your chance to stay connected to what's happening outside. Sponsored by Rob Graham at Lawyers West.
Excuses, excuses, excuses. When are you going to get your estate planning done? Call me at 255-6161.
All right, welcome back. The president lands here Friday. Does he bring with him a dilemma for Nevada's first Hispanic governor? We're going to talk about Harry Reid in a moment, because that's a whole other issue. I want to talk about Brian Sandoval first. Okay. You're the Republican governor. Do you go down? Do you greet the president? How do you embrace immigration reform? A lot of your party doesn't. What does he do?
Well, I think if I were the governor at this point, I would definitely go down and shake his hand, welcome him to the great state of Nevada. There's no shame in doing so. He's a very well-liked individual. He won almost unanimously, so I don't think this could hurt him. Plus, it's viewed that he might be taking Harry Reid later on in 2016, so this might help boost him as well.
What do you think about the ramifications for Sandoval?
I don't know. Politically, I don't know if he wants to be seen shaking the hand as the president comes into, what many in Sandoval's party are going to describe as this illegal, dictatorial act taken on his own, and we need to, fight back and shut down the government, and heads are going to roll or explode or whatever. So I don't know if Sandoval, politically, if it's a good idea for him to come down and welcome the president or not. But again, from a policy standpoint, Sandoval Sandoval over the years has indicated, after some initial right-wing flirtation when he was in his first primary, he has indicated some support for some form of substantive immigration reform. And again, given the kind of numbers that we were talking about in this state and the population of his constituency, and yes, they are his constituents, they're in his state, I think that he has to also step back. I hope he's stepping back and thinking about it from a policy standpoint. Again, if you bring these folks out, as they say, out of the shadows, then all of a sudden they can't be discriminated against in wages. I mean, there's been study after study that shows how they don't get paid overtime, how they don't even get paid the full minimum wage, how they get robbed of hours that they work. They are being paid less, and that hurts everyone because they don't have the purchasing power. It continues to mire them in poverty, and the more that we lift, the more people we lift out of poverty, the better it is for our economy, our impact on social services across the board. From a policy level, this is a no-brainer. It's just an ideological firepower, a hot button that everybody freaks out about.
I don't think that the governor is so worried about how he's viewed on the right per se, because he is, let's just say what he is. He's a more moderate individual, if not more liberal in some issues. Just like I mentioned earlier, he's approved the driver's license situation. He's also put more money into English language learning in our school, as you mentioned. What was it, 1 in 6?
Well, 1 in 6. I'm glad you brought that up. 1 in 6 students here in Nevada has a parent who is here illegally. So some of those parents may be in fact covered by the executive action that the president will be announcing to allow them to stay here and not be deported, because that was one of the big issues about don't break up families.
And studies, some of the studies I was discussing earlier have also shown that the children of undocumented immigrants have a much more difficult time making their own educational progress. And so if you bring these people so that they are no longer illegal, quote unquote, that they are acknowledged as being able to work here, it's better for those children as well. And given that percentage, they are the future of Nevada in large degree.
Let's talk about Harry Reid. I did talk to his office this morning. The senator will be with the president at Del Sol and probably will be flying here on Air Force One with him. You know, there was that famous interview that his chief of staff gave after the midterm where he was very critical of Barack Obama, and there's an article in Politico today saying, Democrats to the president, you broke the party, now fix it.
Right.
So you've got Harry Reid. I guess they're making nice, and is this really the kickoff for Harry Reid's re-election, do you think, in 2016? What do you think?
It could be. I mean, I fully expect Harry Reid to be there. He's done a little waffling this week about when he wanted the timing of this to happen. He was saying, oh, let's do it until after the government budget is settled. But I'm sure that he'll be here and cheering him on. Look, this is smart for Democrats to get this done, to get this off the table and get Latinos back to the polls. And Harry Reid is going to need them to come out.
Just get Democrats back to the polls, period.
And Harry Reid, but Latinos are a growing, increasingly large portion of the Democratic electorate. And Harry Reid needs to get those folks to show up.
All right, we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, more of What's Your Point, including some big votes, some big issues in Congress, and Amy gets to say, I told you so. That's next.
Did you know that one of America's largest state-of-the-art watch, clock, and jewelry repair facilities is right here in Las Vegas? It's M&I International. They can troubleshoot and fix whatever problem you may have. All work is done on the premises. Your one-stop watch, clock, and jewelry repair shop is also your one-stop for sales. Come in today at one of America's largest facilities devoted to watch, clock, and jewelry repair. M&I International.
The dogs got in a wreck. The dogs got in a wreck. What will they do with their insurance check?
Progressive Insurance.
I was just in an accident.
We suggest you take your car to Doggone Auto Repair. We'll see how cheap we can fix this puppy.
Oh, no, you didn't. It's my choice. I'm taking my car to Sudden Impact Auto Body.
We're going to Sudden Impact. They're the best.
That's right. It's your choice. We will work with them. Remember, have a voice. It's your choice.
Let our family serve your family.
I've always seen No No on TV, and I always wondered if it worked. And it definitely, I can see what everybody talks about now.
It's not a razor. It's not a laser. It's No No from Radiancy. No No gives you no hair with no pain.
There's absolutely no pain.
Can't believe the difference, Al. It's almost hair-free.
And now, No No is better than ever. Introducing the No No Pro. It's up to 35% more powerful. Imagine never having to shave again.
I like a close shave.
Absolutely.
And this is better than that. I mean, it's gone.
And there's a no-no for him too.
It looks like just like you've got a fresh wax, but like you don't have to go through all the pain.
Call now and we'll send you everything you need to get rid of your unwanted hair. Try No-No for 60 days. If you don't love it, return it and we'll refund the purchase price, refund the shipping, and even pay the return postage. Try No-No risk-free today.
My password is 12345.
I just use my hamster's name, Brian.
I log in with my birthday.
I just use my dog's name, Bowser. Actually, we're kidding. When it comes to passwords, don't make them easy to guess.
Make them complicated, but easy to remember.
Like Al. And change them often.
You won't make password your password. The more you know.
All right, welcome back. Before we get to a bunch of other stuff here in the program, I did want to bring this up because Fox is going crazy on this. Mr. Obama will host 18 Democratic lawmakers from the House and Senate, no Republicans, Fox says, for dinner at the White House Wednesday night to talk through his immigration order. That's what the White House says. But you can't...
Well, he had Republicans join him for a meal, what was it, a few weeks ago, and I think they went head-to-head on this immigration status, so maybe he just doesn't want to serve any tea. He doesn't want to enjoy any tea at this dinner.
Okay.
Well, he could have invited some of the 14 Republican senators who voted to pass immigration reform. He might have invited them over. I don't know if they would have shown up or not, but let's face it, the Republicans, ever since that vote, have completely dropped the ball on this, and that's why he has to go forward, so
and
I'm not
Senator
surprised
Heller
at this.
could have joined
Exactly, Heller could have been one of them, yeah.
Maybe this would have, you know, made things a little bit more bipartisan.
Would have looked nicer.
It doesn't happen at dinners. That's some Beltway myth that, oh, if only they'd had dinners and talked to each other, then they'd get along. That's a bunch of baloney.
All right.
If I went golfing, maybe they'd show up.
Okay, enough of the dinner and the golfing. The Senate failed to pass the Keystone Pipeline bill yesterday by a single vote. The controversial bill was passed by the Republican-controlled House on Friday, so it dies in the Senate, and it doesn't get to that 60-vote level that it needs in order to overcome a filibuster. So it's dead for now, but it will be coming back in January when the Republican rest of Congress shows up, having been elected in the midterms.
And this is where I get to say I told you so. Yesterday we discussed this, and I knew this was going to happen, and now they're calling it a show vote. And that's exactly what it turned out to be. Was they were needing the 60, only got the 59 because you had the one senator who came out public and said, nope, I'm not going to follow through with it. Senator Reid allowed it for the first time to go to a vote in a half dozen years, and it was all just to put her on the record of saying, look, constituents, I'm listening to you. Please re-elect me. Nonsense.
One of my favorite websites, Wonkette.com, dubbed this the Mary Landrieu Preservation Act. Yeah, obviously that's what it was about. But I don't know that I would characterize it as solely a show vote. After all, if they'd gotten one more vote, it would have passed. It will pass, obviously, when the new Senate is sworn in January. And
they're already whipping their votes for the next time that this comes up to 67, so that way it can get over the veto.
I've also seen it characterized as fail Mary. So that's how that works.
Funny.
Okay. The Senate, we're going to talk about this now. The Senate blocked a bill, Republicans specifically, blocked a bill that would have stopped the National Security Agency from collecting the phone records of millions of Americans. It was known as the Freedom Act. Both liberals and conservatives showed some support, claiming that the NSA, thank you, Edward Snowden, was snooping on too many innocent people. Critics say that, look, this would hurt our ability to track terrorists. And I think Mitch McConnell was on the floor yesterday going, look, we're not going to fight this war with one arm behind our back, so we're not going to go for it.
I get some of the fear that's going on with this because of everything that's going on around the world. You want to make sure you've got your thumb on everyone. I get that. But what this does, and I have a big problem with the rest of my fellow Republicans out there on this bill, is this does what's called reverse targeting. So this puts the innocent American citizens out there already with the big G on our chest, already presumed guilty before we've even done anything wrong. That I have a problem with.
This was a fairly modest bill. Basically, it cut back on some of the gathering of bulk data on everybody. Civil libertarians contended that, look, this is not anywhere near as far as it should go. This has been totally watered down by both the White House and Republicans already. Rand Paul voted against this because it did not go far enough, showing his civil libertarian bona fides, if you will. There were 4 Republicans that voted with Democrats in favor of this thing, one of whom was Dean Heller. You know, look, this is, I think the relevance of this, again, it was a modest reform at best. Probably the relevance of this is how Ted Cruz, who voted for it, and Rand Paul, who voted against it, are going to fight out this issue when they get into Republican primaries. I think that's a real takeaway from all of this.
All right, we're going to move on to this. Enrollment for the second round of the Affordable Care Act is underway. We haven't heard any problem. Well, we haven't. I'm not going to say that we haven't heard any problems, but it seems to be going much smoother this second go around than it did during the debacle a year ago. So, I mean, Hugh, what? Democrats can come out and go, look, it's working.
Well, this is kind of the dog that didn't bark. I mean, for years we've been hearing again and again and again how horrible Obamacare is and it just can't work and, oh, it's not going to be able to get enough people to be economical and it's going to be this incredible drain on the deficit. None of that stuff has proven true. I mean, the deficit has gone down. The CBO actually shows that now, because of the bending of the cost curve, which has happened as a result of this, the deficit is actually going to be much lower in out years than they originally intended, because this thing is going to be more effective than they originally expected it to be. So on any number of metrics, this thing is actually working. And so, as I mentioned yesterday, what are you going to do if you've invested your entire political party into this whole belief that Obamacare is this terrible thing that's going to destroy the country? Well, I guess you got to fall back on Gruber.
Well, it fizzled. I mean, they didn't really talk about it in the midterms. I mean, there really was not a big talking point.
They backed off of it.
No, but the Supreme Court, it's going to go back to the Supreme Court, and they're going to hear it on the subsidy issue, yes. And so I don't think that we need to continue, as far as we being the Republicans who wanted to sit there and sue the president and ask for a repeal. I don't think that needs to continue at this point, because it might unravel on its own. And the ACA is actually designed to roll out into phases over several years, many years. So we have just started this situation. We have yet to see how the premiums are going to be raised, and they are going to be raised, and our taxes are going to be raised, because we're going to have to foot the bill for those individuals who are getting these subsidies.
And that's well, I don't know about that, but I think that the subsidies definitely are going to be raised, as they should. I think that they're too meager. And I also think, in terms of future reforms, you're going to see finally a public option so that people can go in and buy insurance without having to go to a private for-profit insurer. You might even see something along the lines of basically, hey, you want to buy into Medicare? Okay, we'll let you do that. Those are the kind of reforms that need to happen to continue the nation's very, very slow lurch towards having a true universal health care.
You know, what's interesting, though, about this country, we already have socialized health care. It is called Medicare. Yeah. It's socialized medicine.
You pay into that, right?
And you pay into that. And you know, you keep hearing the cry from people on the left, and a lot of other people, by the way, just make it for everybody. And get over it.
No, that's my position.
Well, that's what Medicaid is turning into, which was expanded under the Affordable Care Act, supposedly affordable. But I mentioned earlier, nationally, alone, 42% of those who are on Medicaid or government assistance, taxpayer funded, are the illegal immigrants and their children.
One thing to bring up, though,
yes.
one of the things, going back to
you.
the immigration executive action that the president will announce, the Times is reporting one of the things it will not include will be giving them health benefits under the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
So they will not be...
So they'll just go to the emergency room and we'll still pay for them.
Which is what is happening now.
Right.
Which is why you want to effectively make them legal, which is why you want to make the unauthorized folks authorized so they can participate in the system instead of draining from it.
Pathway to citizenship.
That's not in this. That's not in the executive order. There's nothing about that in there.
Reagan did
That's
this
the law
in
that the
86,
Republicans won't pass.
And 3 million were brought forward, and it was wrong then, and it's wrong now.
Well, we should note that not only Reagan expanded, but also sort of George H.W. Bush. Correct. He expanded to bring more people in and shield them from deportation.
I'm reminded of the know-nothings in the 1850s and going after the Irish. Oh, those Irish, we can't let them come in here. It's the same type of thing.
Stop, hold it here. Our last point after this.
I'm attorney Rob Graham from Lawyers West. Don't let the probate process eat up your entire estate when you pass away. Call Lawyers West to protect your hard-earned assets today at 255-6161 or go to lawyerswest.com on the web.
This is a time-sensitive message from the Back Pain Relief Hotline. Millions of people across the nation are suffering from back pain. Are you on Medicare? Is it hard to walk, to bend over, or even do simple things? Well, here's great news. If on Medicare, you or a loved one could qualify to receive a pain-relieving, comfortable back brace at little or no cost to you. You'll receive free information, free delivery, and all the Medicare paperwork is handled for free by our accredited suppliers. Best of all, there is little or no cost to you for the back brace. Our friendly consultants are standing by 24/7 to take your call. Imagine getting out there again, doing all of the things you love to do without back pain. These amazing back braces have helped thousands of people with severe back pain, and you could be eligible to have yours delivered free at little or no cost to you.
Call the Back Pain Hotline at 1-800-460-7570 to take advantage of this free trial back brace offer. That's 1-800-460-7570, 1-800-460-7570. Call now.
Nevada Childhood Cancer Foundation Summer Camp Cartwheel program serves over 200 critically ill children diagnosed with cancer and other life-threatening illnesses at no cost to their families.
Camp Cartwheel provides a safe summer camp experience, free from hospitals and the stress of fighting their disease, while bonding with family, friends, and pals like Charlie. Nevada Childhood Cancer Foundation needs your support to continue helping these children. Help us help them. Right, Charlie?
Today, more families must choose between health care and other critical needs. Fortunately, the Vaccines for Children program provides vaccines to children and teens at no or low cost for uninsured families and others who qualify. To learn if you are eligible for the Vaccines for Children program, call your health care provider or your local health department. Vaccines for Children, helping you keep your child healthy. This message is brought to you by the Southern Nevada Immunization and Health Coalition and the Nevada State Immunization Program with support from United Healthcare and Amerigroup Community Care.
Cadmium, mercury, lead, all on the periodic table, all inside these two. Now the last thing we want is for all that to mix with water. So recycle. You'll keep your planet clean. TMYK.
All right, welcome back. Boy, I tell you, if you're Del Sol High School, have you been getting some presidential love in 6 years?
Yeah.
The third visit from Barack Obama there.
I was at the first one in 2008, yeah, back when he was attracting big crowds before he was president, when there was all the excitement and such, yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to reiterate something, though, in the little time we have left, going back to this, 1 in 6 students in Nevada schools being the child of unauthorized immigrants, 17%. They are really so integral to the future of this state, to our economic vitality. That is a huge number. And the more that we can bring those households out of poverty and into more prosperity, and then those children are going to do better in school, that's obviously what follows with more prosperity, the better for the state in the future. This is an imperative, and Nevada should be fully behind bringing these folks to the best position we can.
We need to help legalize them so that way they also don't hold back.
Well, that's what Obama's doing. He's legalizing them.
Well,
and of
That's
course,
the
the big sales pitch here Friday, of course, Friday. Full coverage here on News 3. Anyway, thank you very much for your time today. We're going to be back here tomorrow. And join us on Facebook. Take care.